Am I connected to the internet? I am connected to the internet.
Stream is live.
Stream is live. Let me get on here. Do the obligatory. Tap in. We're here. Oh man, it's got my Twitter timeline.
Oh, my Facebook's up right now too, but it doesn't tag, right?
No, I can. I guess if you wanted to go to like the podcast page and see if you can share it.
I just shared it just from my Facebook.
Yep, that'll work. I think is it next week? No, it's not next week. I think it's 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we join JC's pod.
Yeah.
All right. I think let me do this.
Oh, what did I do? I shared the wrong thing. Oh no, we didn't share the whole thing. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Shook his pride.
Make sure I don't. All right. We ready to rock and roll. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this and you are tuned into the only sports podcast with brains and bars. It's a black and white thing featuring A1 and A Ward. Please remember you can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, searching for It's a Black and White Thing or for Brains and Bars, liking the content, give us 5 stars, share the content. You can also find us live on YouTube as well every Tuesday or Thursday around 7 o'clock Central Time. Please hit the notification bell, subscribe, and share that broadcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's those boys again. Make sure you hit the like button as well if I didn't say that. And as usual, I'm joined by the homie A Ward. What's going on with you, man?
We in the building, man. We in the building. Getting closer and closer to the NFL draft. College basketball is now done. And now it's the time period where everything's crazy. So, the week of new coaches and transfer portals and all that good stuff. We got A Ward versus Tay Rock coming up in 17 days in Orlando on a Riot. That's exciting. And then we got some hip hop to talk about tonight too. A little bit of hip hop to talk about.
Sure.
And then I don't know if you want to, I feel like in the last few years you have rekindled I don't even know if it's a rekindle because I'm not sure if, but your love for wrestling, for professional wrestling.
Oh, yeah. We got to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, I still will watch it if it's something, I'll check it out or whatever, but I'm not following, I don't even know who's on what leagues now or any of that kind of stuff. Like I was a Portland fan up until probably 2002, and so since then I've just dabbed in it a little bit, but yeah, so maybe we can talk about WrestleMania. I'm assuming that you watched it. I watched a decent portion of it, and so yeah, we got a lot to speak about today.
Absolutely, man. I've definitely gotten back into wrestling. We will talk about the reason why I got back into wrestling. Shout out to Mama Ward in the building.
Mama, you have to explain it.
Yeah, slow it down. She just dissed you.
I think she's saying it's a black and white thing, and so like maybe I look familiar. I'm the white part of the team. Maybe she hasn't seen me in a minute. I don't know.
But yeah. So definitely want to talk about WrestleMania, man. I know they keep the thing about wrestling. Well, first of all, you said you don't know what leagues I'm into. Listen, WWE is the URL, is the only league that matters. Truly the only league that matters. No offense to TNA. TNA still around. No offense to AEW. I'm not wasting a minute of my time watching those shows. It is all about the WWE for me. But yes, we will talk WrestleMania. Before we get into the raps, let's just start there. Let's just start at WrestleMania. Definitely a dope event. I have to say, right, like I'm not a hardcore fan. Shout out to the homie Iller. He follows it a lot more. Shout out to my homie David Reese. He recently started a wrestling podcast. I have to go and look it up so I can make sure we give him a shout out. But like those guys, like David for sure watches. I mean, he's watching New Japan Wrestling. He's watching Ring of Honor, right? Like he is tapped into the scene in ways I am not, right? So if you are a wrestling fan and you watch this and you're like, you're butchering it, listen, I'm a WWE guy who, as of like a year ago, really got back into wrestling. But what was your thoughts on WrestleMania? Like, what did you think of it overall?
Man, the last time I watched the WrestleMania was, I want to say 5-6 years ago, maybe. So, I haven't seen one in a while. And even back then, it was kind of the same. It was kind of the same thing. Like you bring the old guys back, for like the final match because they're the nostalgia of, the heyday of, it just cracks me up because I think about like, what if like, if it's fourth down and 10 yards, in the national championship of college football, and all of a sudden you could just throw Peyton Manning in there, quarterback for Tennessee, and you're like, like that's the idea of what they do in like professional wrestling. It's like all these other guys like continue to keep it running. And then in the biggest, pay-per-view of the year, it's like, here's the Undertaker, here's the Rock, here's John Cena. I thought, just the intros, like the coming to the ring and everything. Like, first off, there's terms for these things that I don't even know what they are, but like it was 20 minutes to get 4 guys to the ring on day one. Like it was literally 20 to 25 minutes to get 4 guys to the ring. And I thought to myself, wow, this is what it feels like in battle rap. Like this is the same Loaded Lux's entourage is trying to get on stage. But it was entertaining. The matches that I watched were entertaining. I watched some of the table match where that Bubba Ray Dudley was the guest referee of.
Yep.
I watched the headlining matches. I watched the AJ Styles match. But it was entertaining. It was fun. They were at Lincoln Financial, right?
Yep, in Philly. Yep. They were in Philly.
I thought that was just a really cool like aesthetic. Like I just it was this huge field, the ring, everything. And then, once you hear the Undertaker's theme music, you're immediately a kid again, I think about it as like when you're playing Mario Kart and that lightning bolt like hits the car and then all of a sudden you just shrink to like the little bitty car or whatever. Like I like that's my metaphor for like the Undertaker's theme music. Like you're this old man and then you just get hit with it and now all of a sudden you're just little again and you're just kind of like, holy, and I literally jumped up off my couch like, and so but it was entertaining, man. It was definitely good. I don't follow the whole storyline of the Cody Rhodes and I don't understand the whole bloodline thing with Roman Reigns. I kind of got out of wrestling before he ever even was a wrestler, but it seems like that they're still engaging their fans and keeping everybody like on the edge of their seat.
Yeah, man. So I watched a lot. It's funny. So my son's birthday was last Wednesday. So this weekend we had a couple of his weekend was filled with like different events or whatever. And so we took
saw one of your cousins at church. Did she say she's on me?
Yeah. So she has twin boys.
Yeah.
So her twin boys, they are I think like 8 or 9, and they and their dad, they're diehard wrestling fans.
Oh, cool.
So we had so many boys that we couldn't put them all in one car, so I had to pick them up. We're riding to Urban Air for them to go jump around, right? Urban Air is like 25 minutes both ways from our house and back, right? Whole time. Like we could have had them on the podcast for them to talk WrestleMania because cool. they get in the car and they're like, so who you got? And so we start talking. And we're going back and forth about, who's going to win, what this means if they win, what the storylines will be. And it was hilarious just listening to these kids talk. I mean, because they know their stuff.
Yeah.
And like it was a really, really good event. I watched most of. Dang, did I watch the whole thing? I might have watched the entire thing. Now I think about it. No, that's not true. I missed the very beginning of night 1, and I missed the very beginning of. No, that's not true. I watched almost all of night 2 because night 2, I believe,
it started out with Seth Rollins,
McIntyre, right? And Seth Rollins, right? Yeah. And so, to me, my favorite moment of the night is of night 2 when McIntyre wins the belt. He defeats Seth Rollins. He's taunting CM Punk. CM Punk starts to beat him up, and
that was so awesome.
Man, when Damian Priest, when the Judgment Day music hits, and I'm just like, oh my! Like I jump up off like he jumped up for the Undertaker. I jump up off my couch and go, "Oh my God, he's fine." I'm sorry, Drew. Damian Priest has had that Money in the Bank briefcase for almost a year. Like, I've been making fun of him because I'm like, bro, this briefcase is just an accessory for you now. Like, you're never Money in the Bank is in like 3 months. Are you going to cash this thing in before the next Money in the Bank? Like, because you can't carry it into the next year. This isn't rollover minutes, right? Like, you got to use it.
Like and so to see him matured, it's like,
man. So to see him cash in and to win the belt, and take it from McIntyre, to me, that carries that storyline on with the feud between him and CM Punk. I don't know how long Damian Priest is going to have this belt. I know he's fighting a main event Jey Uso on, I think, next Raw next week for the title. So who knows how long he will keep it. But that was my favorite moment of the night. And then, first of all, I don't know if they can see. Let me back up. Let me put the one up, man. Let me salute the tribal chief, my tribal chief, my champion.
You gonna have to stay on Tay-Rock's side, man. You got to stay on Tay-Rock's side, bro. y'all.
Man, I gotta salute my tribal chief. Listen, man, like, so I talked about
maybe
this.
Maybe I should dress up as Cody Rhodes for the battle. You know what? I think I just found my gimmick. I think my first gimmick in battle rap.
I got respect for Cody Rhodes as a man, as a wrestler. I am not a fan. Like, I don't think Cody Rhodes is interesting. I think his work on his mic work is just like, it is very politician-like. It is not for me. And let me tell you something. As a kid who grew up watching wrestling, I never thought I would identify with the heel or that I would cheer for the heel. Like, I was always for the faces, right?
Yeah.
The Stings, the Hulk Hogan's, right? The Macho Man, Ricky the Dragon Sting. Like, I was for those guys. And so about a year ago, I forget, it wasn't WrestleMania. I forget the event, but everybody on my timeline was going crazy about this bloodline story. And so I'm like, what is this bloodline? Like, what are y'all talking about? My brother is talking about it. And so I started to kind of play some catch up and look at the history of Roman Reigns. And if you know the history of Roman, like, he was, WWE tried to push him as the face of the company, the ultimate baby face, and the fans revolted. They booed him. They did not want him to be the face. He had leukemia. He steps away for a year to deal with leukemia. He's had, I think he said, for like 11 years at the time. He comes back, and when he comes back as the head of the table, the tribal chief, right? This new heel persona. And he is incredible as a heel. Like, the crowd is literally divided, right? When that music hits and you hear like that chant from that first notes, and you see immediately half the crowd is standing up with their ones in the air, the other half is booing. Like, he is a good type of polarizing. He's what you want as a heel, right? And the way he talks trash, the way he carries himself, that Bloodline saga brought me back into wrestling. And I never thought I would be at this age still watching wrestling, right? But I am all in. Like, I am all in. And it is because of Roman Reigns. And let me give credit to the creative team, the writers there, Triple H. They have crafted a story. Even the story of Cody versus Roman. Again, I'm not a huge Cody fan. But I think the work that
I think you hit him with when I seen him
the bionic elbow.
No.
Yeah, so I'm not a huge Cody fan, but I think the work that he's done in that feud with Roman and with the Bloodline, I think it is, I have to salute them and what they've done. Because like I said, they brought me back to wrestling, and I am all in. I'm invested. I joked that, if Cody won, I wasn't going to watch anymore. I'm going to continue to watch. I just don't think that the fans wanted him to win the belt, but I just think they love the idea of him having that belt. And I think they're going to ultimately, unless the creative team, WWE creative, has some really dope plans in store, I think they're going to go board with it. But yeah, WrestleMania was dope. Shout out to Jade Cargill, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Jade fire. Jade is fire. Shout out to them. I watched that match. I'm trying to think. What else did I watch? I'll say for the main event, I did think it got hokey. So apparently it was supposed to be Stone Cold and not The Undertaker. But at that point, I think I put in a group chat, somebody was like, oh man, The Undertaker showed up. This is fire. And I'm like, and this is why Gnome 30.
Yeah.
We're going to get Clips versus Goods 10 because people just cannot let go of the past. But it was fire to have The Rock there, The Rock, heel Rock, Hollywood Rock showing up. And even as a heel, he still gets love. Like, for as much he's supposed to be the bad guy, but when that, if you smell,
oh yeah,
still electrifying. What they've done with his entrance, the way they remixed his intro with the final boss aesthetic, fire. And I can't wait. I'm pretty sure next WrestleMania we're going to get Cody Rhodes versus The Rock, or maybe SummerSlam. I don't know, but at some point we're going to get, because that feud, which I have to salute the fans for, they helped create that organically, and it's going to be something to behold. So again, shout out to everybody. Shout out to WWE. Shout out to Cody, Roman. I can't wait to see what they do with his story next and where he goes, who he feuds with next. But it's going to be like, wrestling is in a great place. Like they really, I think the numbers came back and they said that was the most streamed event in Peacock history. I think they said over 1 billion. And I think some of them, I forget.
Was it pay-per-view Peacock, or if you just had Peacock, you could watch it?
No, if you have Peacock, you get the event. So if you pay like $5 for Peacock,
wow,
$5 a month, man, you get the entire WWE catalog, right? So you can go back. Part of what got me into wrestling again was COVID. When COVID happened, I want to say when I got sick with COVID, I was in the hospital. I think I started watching. The Royal Rumble might have just taken place, and so I started watching all the Royal Rumbles, and I started a thread on Twitter.
You got COVID. You're in the hospital. You know, the pearly gates are next, and what you wanted to watch, you got up there was some wrestling.
Listen, there was a lot of Bible reading because there was a lot of scripture reading while I was in that hospital, but I was like, I can't read the scripture for 24 hours a day. I got to do something while I'm in here by myself, and so I think. I wanted to say I started
the second option.
That was the second option. I started watching Royal Rumbles and live tweeting like how I felt about them. And so I think that was the genesis of me getting back into wrestling, was that moment right there. So yeah, man, like super fun event, man. Let me know what y'all think about WrestleMania. Is it the greatest WrestleMania of all time that they said? I haven't seen every WrestleMania to compare. It was pretty high though. The two main events between, Cody and Seth versus Rock and Roman was fire. So let me know what y'all think, man. Your favorite moments. Yep. What did y'all like? And we can go from there. Hold on. I need to go grab some water because I have a cough.
I'll take care of it from here. Good evening, guys. Talking wrestling. I used to think it was real until I went to a live match. I left it too.
It's entertainment though.
Yes.
And they've done a better job of, granted, you can still see where they're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm in place.
Yeah.
Hit me. But I think they've done a good job with the entertainment and the acting. And this is why my wife is the best.
Man.
The GOAT.
I want $1 million.
But yeah, that's hilarious. I want $1 million. I wish. But I used to think, I think finding out that it wasn't real that's not true because the Attitude Era I was locked in. Although I'll say this about the Attitude Era. When you had the Ministry Taker, I don't know if you remember when he had the ministry and he was like putting people up on crosses and stuff like that.
Yep.
I was like, y'all tapping into something I don't know if y'all should be messing with. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, y'all let us know what y'all think about that, man. Let's get into this J. Cole thing. So if you haven't been paying attention, you've been under a rock somewhere. Kendrick Lamar on a feature for Metro Boomin and Future, like that. He drops a diss record talking about Drake, and more so, he was firing on Drake. He had a couple of pew-pews at J. Cole. The entire hip hop community was waiting to see what the response would be from Drake and Cole. Cole last week drops a record, 7-minute drill, where he takes shots at Kendrick. Jabs. I think Kendrick jabbed at Cole. Cole jabbed back, nothing crazy. And Dreamville was this weekend. So this past weekend, and at Dreamville, he apologized for shooting at Kendrick. Said, he couldn't sleep. He felt sick about what he had done. He wanted, I don't know if the verse has been removed from, or the song has been removed from streaming. He said he wanted the song removed from streaming, and it has caused a lot of interesting reaction to those in hip hop. So I'm going to start with you. I'm going to give you the ISO, and you tell me, like, what were your thoughts when you found out that Cole had retracted his diss and he was said, "Hey, stop the violence. I'm a man of peace." What do you think?
Boo! That's the thing. Are you serious, my guy? Like, first of all, it's not even that deep. You guys didn't even like we come from an era of the Jay-Z and Nas, like I'm talking like straight disrespectful diss tracks. Like this, what y'all did was like a little almost indirect, subtle, jab back and forth. And you know what that reminds me of? I think J. Cole's got to be a vegan. He must just be a vegan. That's just what it is. That was the most that was the most like it's upset his stomach. What was it? Chicken broth like in your soup or something? like you couldn't sleep at night because you were thinking about how you said he was overrated. Like, bro, what? Like, come on, man. Like, I didn't like it at all. I thought it was super, super silly. Now, one thing you can't ever tell a man is like to not, if something doesn't sit well with their spirit or their soul, to not go out and say something. But my goodness, if Dreamville wasn't this weekend, how would he have apologized? Like, I'm kind of curious as to that. But yeah, I thought it was super, super lame, super like people say, oh, but he apologized. He really felt like he apologized for what? There was no apology needed. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't even say anything crazy. It's not like he said the dude's address or called out his mom or anything like that. Like, to come back a few days later and apologize after, bro, you sat there and recorded it. You wrote it. You recorded it. You know what I mean? Like, we're battle rappers. We write. We rehearse. We record. And then you want to come back and say, I'm sorry? You had so many times to be sorry. So many times. You were probably punched in on the song and didn't say sorry. You know what I mean? I didn't like it at all. I thought it was just like, especially while you're dropping what is a mixtape or an album. I don't even know what these same thing.
Essentially a mixtape.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, that's really smart. Like you could have just, you could have bowed out after this and just not said anything, and everything would have been fine. It would be like, oh, J. Cole got his little jabs off, but he's not really about that battle life. But now people talking about, I'm deleting your catalog. I'm not listening to the album. I don't even want to hear J. Cole's, fall off or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you literally created a situation for what? Because you got your stomach upset because there must have been some chicken broth in your soup and you're vegan. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Man, where do I begin? Where do I begin? So we just talked about WrestleMania. J. Cole, did you ever watch WrestleMania? You ever watch wrestling growing up? I mean, you're from the South, so I have to assume that you watch wrestling or wrestling, however you want to define it, right? Yeah, are you J. Cole, have you heard of the term shooting in wrestling, or a shoot in wrestling, right? It's where it's an unplanned, unscripted, real life occurrence within wrestling, right? So sometimes you might you throw that punch, you actually clock him. Seth Rollins, right? He got a black eye because one of those claymores from Drew McIntyre connected for real, right? So, unintended consequences. This from Kendrick was an unintended consequence. You were collateral damage because he's really shooting at Drake, right? He's at Drake and he's like, pow, 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 pow at you. Yeah. You came back and pow, 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 pow back. Good, right? You cannot sit on these records and say, if Jesus asked for a feature, I'm going to hell. You cannot sit on these records and say, I am the best rapper alive, that I'm the best in the game. And if you test me, if you try me, I'm going to flame you. If you say that you have the crown, what comes with that crown are challengers, right? This is what comes with that. And the fact that you do all this boasting and bragging about how you the top dog, pardon the pun, how you're the best in the game. And the first time one of your peers, right? Because not just anybody can shoot at you. one of your peers, which you said were in the big three, said, bump the big three. It's just Big Me. Excuse me. And the fact that he talked about, oh man, about you walking with this stick. There's a line in First Person Shooter with Cole and Drake where he talks about he's got a stick and he's I forget the reference that Kendrick made, but he basically says that he called it Andre 3000's flute. Like, that's the stick you're walking with. You're not walking with a gun. You got this flute. Like, again, nothing crazy. And you came out here and you say this.
Crazier now that he apologized. Now it's like, damn, he knew something about you.
like this is what comes with carrying that crown. And so for me going forward, listen, I'm not going as far to say I'm not going to listen to J. Cole's catalog, or I made the joke about deleting his entire catalog out my library. I did make that joke, but I'm not doing that. I'm going to listen to the Fall Off when it drops. I'm going to keep listening to Born Center and Forest Hills Drive, the Fall Off, all these albums. I'm going to continue listening. But I don't want to ever hear again about how lyrically you were better, because one of your peers invited you to prove that. And you sent, again, soft jabs. Not even, again, like you said, this wasn't ether. It wasn't takeover. It wasn't hit 'em up.
It wasn't hit 'em up.
It wasn't even Drake's Duppy freestyle. Like, it wasn't charged up.
It wasn't back to back. It wasn't
nothing of the sort. Name the record, the diss record. It wasn't anything close. Just a nice little opener, right? To prepare us for what was to come. And the fact that you said, oh, you can get your diss back on the house. Like, you get one for free. Man, if I was Kendrick, I was straight. I don't know if you ever watched Dragon Ball Z.
Nope.
Dragon Ball Z, there's just like one of the most devastating moves is when Goku gets a spirit bomb. Like, he's summoning the entire energy of the earth, the old spirits. Listen, I'm not an anime guy, so don't crucify me here, Dragon Ball people. But he is summoning every ounce of energy he has to destroy you. If I'm Kendrick and you said, oh, I get a free shot, oh, I'm not taking jabs on this one. I am about to bomb on you. I'm about to go crazy, because you essentially stood up there and went Tory Doe and said, round. I am about to bomb on you. Like, listen, J. Cole, I don't know if you ever watched battle rap. Let me let you in on a little secret here. Come closer. Come closer. Get close to the screen. These guys are friends in real life. They don't really hate each other. They just talk crazy to each other because they get paid really well to do it. Like, there are very few people in battle rap who dislike each other. We watched Chilla Jones and Real Deal go crazy against each other for 2 battles at King of the Dot. One of the best.
That was their third time battling too.
Third time for the chain, twice. 2 highly debatable, highly competitive back and forth between friends. I have no idea what it was like after the fact, right? Like, I don't know if maybe they had to take a couple of weeks off because look, you want your competitors, right? You want to win. But again, after a while, they came back. They were able to talk to each other, have a good time, all this good stuff, right? I even think about you and me. We played rec league ball, right? Yeah. Church league ball. We had one of the best games in church rec league history of that league, right? Double overtime. We both had opportunities to win the game, right? And great back and forth. Your team prevails at the end. Great game. I am hot. I'm mad we lost this game. And at the end, you go, yo, before we go, man, let's just pray. And I'm like, in my mind, pray? Pray? Like, let me tell you what was on my mind when you said that. This was on my mind when you said that. I ain't trying to hear about no prayer right now. Cuz, you kidding me? You for real right now? You talking about some prayer?
Score? Is he gonna change the score? Well, if not.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? and so you know what I'm saying? So, like, you can have a good competition with your guy. If Kendrick is still your guy, that's your man, that's cool, right? If you don't want to pick a side, if you feel like you're caught in the middle between Drake and Kendrick, and you don't want to you want to get out the crossfire, that's fine. But dog, you got to stand on what you say. Like young Bleed said, all I got is what? My balls and my word.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta stand on what you say, man. And I don't know. I don't know is this 20 to 30 years ago, this would be career ending.
I'd be curious to know if he talked this through with anybody. Or if he was just up there in the moment on Dreamville stage and was like, Streams was there, by the way, live. Shout out to Streams. He was at Dreamville that weekend, watching it all happen. But it's like, you were up on stage or whatever, because I can't imagine that he was like, yo, Drake, y'all finna apologize tomorrow. You know what I mean? Drake was like, yo, wait, what? You know what I mean? Or if he was like, his agents or the label or whatever, like, hey, by the way,
Well, he said his homies. No, he did talk. He did say he was going to do it because his homies was like, I can hear him off stage saying, "Don't do it, don't do it." So they knew he was going to do it. And my thing is just if you felt that way, you like you said,
listen to
you
the
felt
homies.
that way when you
Listen
punched
to the
in.
homies. I got a friend of mine. We were at a house party one night. It was a Halloween house party, and I had noticed he was like vibing, like feeling this girl one time, right? Like he was like, "Yo, I like her. I'm gonna holler at her." But I also knew that girl it was not reciprocated. You know what I mean? Mm. And so he's telling me, boom, 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 and I'm just like chilling at the party. You know what I mean? We kicking it or whatever. And so she leaves to go to her car, and I remember there's like, about 12 steps. You got to go down in the apartment complex, go out the door, and go out the next door, whatever. She's going to her car, and I see a look in his eyes. And he's making his way to the door to follow her to the car. And I just remember saying, don't do it, Vince. Don't do it like that. And I remember that we still to this day yell out, don't do it, Vince. And that's my dog. That's my dog. But sometimes you got to tell your mans, don't do it. Sometimes the homies know best.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All I say is this. To me, with Cole talking about, well, it didn't sit right with me tearing down this man's catalog. But I'm like, okay, are you about to become a Christian rapper then? Because are you no longer going to tear? Are you about to join the Horsemen? Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you say I want to be down with the crew, I'm pretty sure they have no problem putting you on the express lane to join the crew.
We're gonna put everything under a microscope from here on out. Oh, you said this on Fallout, so that sat well with you. You know what I mean? Like,
right. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm like, bro, I'm listening to this EP. Excuse me. And you're calling women out of their name.
Yeah.
You're talking about y'all ain't got no money like that on Johnny P's Caddy. You talking about, these drug dealers fabricating these stories, and they think you as hard as you are because they're like, where do we draw the line here, Jay? So I don't know, man. Like
somehow you made Daylight the realest person on that song. Somehow you managed to make Daylight the realest person on this song.
Yo, listen. I anticipate what happens next. Allegedly, Drake is supposed to drop tonight.
Allegedly, yep. We'll see.
So we'll see. And I'm this is all speculation and conjecture, but apparently it's supposed to be like a bomb. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. Let me know what y'all think. Like, let me say this last thing. All of y'all talking about, I applaud his maturity. He did the right thing. No, he did not do the right thing. The right thing was not to reply.
He didn't do the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like,
the right thing was not to respond at all. If you felt that way, he didn't really shoot at you for real. You didn't have to say anything. You could have just let him and Drake fight it out. That's number one. And excuse me, but yeah, like I'm not saying that maturity is not a good thing, but like you said, this wasn't some crazy record where Kendrick went crazy on his family and calling people out their name. He didn't do the same. Just don't respond, bro. But let us know what y'all think, man. How y'all call it? What do you think about Kendrick? Kendrick's verse? What do you think about Cole and his response and him apologizing? I'm gonna say this coming out the door. I don't think To Pimp a Butterfly is. How should I phrase this? I do think that fans have overhyped it. I think it's a great album. I do think it's a little bit overhyped. To me, it's at the back end of Kendrick's discography. I'm a Good Kid, Mad City guy, Section 80 guy, Damn guy, and then Big Stepper and To Pimp a Butterfly are at the back end of his solo catalog for me. I have more thoughts on Kendrick. Oh boy.
Yikes.
This is Austin. Listen, this is Austin Lawrence.
I'm not a Kendrick fan. I'm not a Kendrick fan. I don't listen to a lot of Kendrick. But Damn and Good Kid, Mad City, And To Pimp a Butterfly, to me, you're like 3 albums that I could listen to. I actually haven't listened to Big Step or the other one, so because I'm just not a Kendrick guy.
Austin Lawrence says Kendrick only has one good album. Austin, I would love to know what that one good album is. I think you're wrong, by the way. I think Section 80, Good Kid, Damn, and To Pimp a Butterfly are fire. I also think that Big Stepper is fire. It's a really dense album. He's talking about a lot of heavy things. His infidelity issues, transgenderism, sexual assault. Like he's talking about a lot, daddy issues. It's deep, it's heavy. And so like I feel like even with To Pimp a Butterfly, like it gets a little heavy at times. And so it's like one of those things where like I'm not clamoring to listen to that because I like my life. I'm happy. I'm happy with my life. I don't do recreational sadness unless you make it bang. So like Kanye's 808 Heartbreaks. Listen, you might catch me in traffic at the top of my voice. You know, I don't want no RoboCop. You move like, bro, like I'll sing Bad News. See you in my nightmares. What? Like I know Wayne verse by heart. Like,
yeah.
Excuse me. Good Kid, Mad City is the only album that Austin. Listen, I would say go listen to Section 80. Section 80's fire. To me, Damn is a record that he got so much backlash for how artsy fartsy good that To Pimp a Butterfly was. And he was like, "Oh, you want an album full of bangers? I can give you an album full of bangers." So anyway. I could keep going on Kendrick, but let's move on to some other topics. So let's jump real quick into the world of college basketball. This past weekend and then Monday, the South Carolina women's basketball team completed their perfect season, capping off a second national title of even 3 years by defeating the Iowa Hawkeyes. And then the UConn men laid the smack down again on another team, this time Purdue being on the opposite end of that smackdown, winning another game by double digit. I believe all 12 of their tournament wins in this back-to-back run for them have been double-digit wins. Let's start with South Carolina, then we'll work our way to UConn. So your thoughts on that game, the South Carolina performance, where you as a fan, like how you rate that particular team and we could talk a little bit about Caitlin Clark and where you think the women's game can go from here. But let's just start with the champs first.
Yeah, I picked South Carolina to win, I believe, last week when we did our podcast. Man, I just thought that the depth that they had and the coaching was going to be the difference. And it was. Like, that really was what it was. 37 bench points to 0. Like, I don't know how you expect to win a game, of that magnitude with no points off of the bench. The one way you possibly can win it is if you have one of the greatest basketball players of all times. However, they didn't. I thought, I did not expect Iowa to come out like that. Like they came out the gate swinging, you know what I mean? And to the point to where I'm watching it like, oh, this is some kind of destiny. You know what I mean? This is some kind of like, oh, you thought this was a, whatever. I'm kind of bought in, on Iowa in that first quarter. But I watched it the same way I kind of watched the Tennessee and Purdue men's basketball game. I said to myself, when your legs get tired in the fourth quarter and in the third quarter and later in the third quarter, the twos are easier to make than the threes, and a team that is getting their shots and getting near the rim and getting rebounds and getting offensive rebounds and, succeeding in that aspect of the game, those shots are a little easier to get. And, I think you saw Iowa, they got to a point to where they got down and now they're chucking up threes or trying to whatever they can do to get back in the game. But Dawn Staley, probably top 5 women's coach of all time. At this point, maybe. If you go with Pat, Gino,
I think Tara Vanderveer. Trying to think of
not Cynthia. It's CC. Oh my gosh,
Oh, you talking about Rutgers coach?
Was it Rutgers coach?
Rutgers, yes, they have. I'm trying to think of her name. I can see her face, but her name's not coming. It definitely starts with the C.
Yeah. Who was Texas's coach?
C. Vivian Stringer.
Vivian Stringer. My bad.
And I'm thinking Muffet McGraw at Notre Dame.
Muffet McGraw,
definitely legend. Leon. I don't know. I think she's past like a Leon Barmore. I don't know if it's kind of hard to put her past to C. Vivian Stringer because she is.
Yeah.
She's a legend in her own right. But I'll put it to this. Dawn, I would say she's probably top 10. Without doing the research and really digging, doing the work of finding out, again, Tara Vanderveer, who just retired from Stanford, I don't know if she's past her yet. I think she has more titles than Tara. I think Tara has 2. But again, also some of these coaches like Stringer, Barmore, Tara, Muffet McGraw, they all had to deal with the era of Gino and Pat.
Yeah.
Who have 19? Because
I think
11 and 8,
Conrad,
right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Jody Conrad from Texas. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Good pull.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I could see her, but yeah, you're right. 19 national championships between them. It's the idea of was it Rick Alderman who always had to play against Phil Jackson? He always had to coach against Phil Jackson. Was it Rick Alderman or is it?
Oh, Adelman. You're talking about the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, I would say you're going to have Chuck Daly in Detroit.
He was with the Kings, and they had played against the Lakers too. Literally,
Phil against the Lakers
put Adelman out of the playoffs every year. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of coaches that Gino and Pat did that to over a couple of decades. But I say all that to say, incredible game, fun game to watch from the beginning to the end. I don't think you ever felt like with Caitlin Clark on the court, you never felt like, a 9-point lead was safe,
right.
Just because not only her ability to hit the three, her ability to get a rebound and to see an outlet pass and turn that thing into 2 points within 4 or 5 seconds as well was they could pick. So really, really good game. I really enjoyed the whole, from the Elite Eight on, the games that I watched, I really, really enjoyed. So shout out to women's college basketball and what they got going. I'll be interested to see how next year operates. If it was just, this year was just because there was so many names this year, and next year they're gonna need some of that same star power.
For sure. Yeah, and like you said, great game, great back and forth. It was tied at halftime. South Carolina started to separate in that second half. And while Iowa would make a run here and there, then South Carolina would kind of keep pushing it back out. And then finally, fourth quarter, the final, 8 minutes, South Carolina created a bit of separation that Iowa just couldn't make up. I sat on here last year. I did an episode with Reese after the women's national championship, and I talked about that. The women's game right now is more compelling than the men's game. More star players, more compelling storylines, and that reigned true in this particular year. Caitlin Clark obviously took things over. Her versus LSU, her versus South Carolina, her versus UConn and Paige Beckers. I hope that they're able to continue this positive, I'm going to say this positive momentum and keep pushing forward. They're going to have a bunch of, you got Hannah Hidalgo, Malaysia Fulwiley. I'm trying to think who else. Juju Watkins, right? Paige Beckers is coming back to school.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of names that that won't have the gravitas of Caitlin Clark. But if they continue to push those names, this sport is still going to be in competition with the men's game for the most eyeballs and the most people watching, right? To kind of turn the page to UConn, I think we've been had this back and forth about what's, more exciting, more entertaining, women's or men's. And UConn is kind of like the early Spurs of the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Ruthlessly efficient, and they're ultimately, that efficiency makes them kind of boring because they don't have a star, right? They don't have anybody that you're tuning in to watch. They play as a unit. They play really good team basketball. They have, in terms of their size, they have an NBA lineup, right? I don't think that they have anybody on their roster, at least who got significant minutes, who was below 6'4". Right, Alex Caravan's 6'9".
Might be around 6'4", right?
I'm gonna see real quick. I'm gonna look at this real quick. I feel like all the significant players, Tristan Newton is 6'5", Stefan Castle is 6'6". Okay, Hassan Diarra, he was 6'2". Caravan 6'8". Spencer 6'4". right? So you're looking at most of their key players, only one of them is below 6'2". Everyone else is 6'4" and above. And so when you have that kind of size, when you take on a team like Purdue, who has two guards who are smaller guards, right? It makes it really hard. And they were able to successfully run a double team at Edey. And when Edey would kick the ball out to shooters to try to find someone, they were able to recover because they had that length and that efficiency. While it from a legacy standpoint, right? We're going to talk about this as, one of the great runs in college basketball history, but you're going to struggle if you're not a UConn fan to name a single player. Maybe Clingan because he has of the last name and the Kling Kong nickname.
Yeah.
But you're going to struggle to name. You'll name the coach. We'll all know Danny Hurley. But hopefully, at least for the men's game, when thinking about them versus the women's, I'm hopeful that Duke next year. Oh man, I'm blanking on the young man's name.
Flagg.
Number one player in the nation, Cooper Flagg. That he comes in and he is polarizing. Part of what I'm going to be honest here. Let's have a bit of honesty. Part of what made Caitlin Clark's story so great was, yes, she was talented, but she was also white. That factors into this conversation, and we need. And this is a black man saying this. We need a polarizing white men's player for America to rally behind. Because if we can get that, people are going to watch. I'm just tell the truth. Keep a spade a spade. People are going to tune in and watch. And so if Cooper Flagg comes in and he can be hateable, like if he can come in and be cocky, he could be the first hated Duke player since J.J. Redick. People hated Grayson Allen because he was tripping people, right? Not because he was a great player. If he can come in and be great and be polarizing, so meaning people love him and hate him, that is the best thing for the men's game. I want to bring up this one last question for you. So I have the clip somewhere. I'm not going to pull it up. Part of what made the women's game is that it was starting to get on the same level as the men's game is because they stay in school for 3-4 years. Like there's a rule that you have to be 4 years removed from high school before you can go to the WNBA. So you said, well, I don't know. My thing is that with the portal, with the one and done rule in the college game, it makes it harder for casual fans to follow the game. And if you're not a diehard, you don't know who's where from year to year, right? So to me, what do you think about that? To me, this idea that the women's game is starting to creep up in popularity because that Paige Beckers is at UConn. Hannah Hidalgo is going to be at Notre Dame for 3 or 4 years. That Caitlin Clark is at Iowa, which really, she didn't really burst upon the scene until her junior year. I think she was kind of like she was a story within women's college basketball her sophomore year, but her junior year is when she really took off, right? And then knowing that she was going to be there for another year, now you have somebody to follow. Like, do you agree with that thought? That the women's game is gaining in popularity because you have these women who are playing in the same places year after year?
Yeah, definitely. The consistency and the constantly, like you said, knowing what to watch for is huge, especially with the transfer portal and everything that we got going on with college sports. At this point, you might not even know your own team going into the next year, and that might be the team you root for. That's kind of where I'm at. We laughed at John Calipari's introductory interview yesterday, where he told Arkansas, "I met with the team. It was Hunter. It was just him. He was the team." You know what I mean? And that's the day and age we live in. And so but there's always the pros and cons to each side of it. Because you do have a handful of the Paolo Bancheros, where you're like, I don't think you needed to stay longer than a year. You know what I mean? I think you played a year and you were ready to go. You know what I mean? Brandon Miller is a guy that I think he was just ready for the NBA. If he stayed another year, I don't know that he's going to be that much more ready. But then you talked about, some guys like Kobe White and, some different guys that, I look at a lot of the guys that played at Tennessee that are not even in the league anymore. Kennedy Chandler and Keon Johnson and guys like that. It's just like, this whole idea that I can leave after 1 year, it does cripple a lot of people's, legacy. But the NIL these days too, it's kind of like, why not? Like, why not? Why not stay 2 more years? You can actually make money, you know what I mean, in your sophomore year. So I do think that that's the case with you having with us knowing that Paige is back and Hidalgo's back. There's probably a couple other girls. I know Cameron Brink's gone. I know even Full Wiley's gonna be back, which she's really fun to watch. But yeah, knowing that some of these girls are back, you kind of have the idea of like, this is what I want to see. Now, I do wish, and I don't know, I could be wrong. I do wish that somehow women's college basketball could be like, okay, we're going to put together these preseason matches of these teams. You know what I mean? Like, they're not preseason, but we're going to put together the UConn versus Notre Dame. Like I know, because I know in college sports, a lot of times you schedule years in advance, But to keep that ball rolling for women's sports, I would love to know that, before conference play, we were going to get Hidalgo versus Beckers. We were going to get, Full Wiley versus, NC State. I don't know if the girl from NC State, she's actually pretty good. I know Deja Fair from Syracuse is gone. But there's some names there that I'm just like, oh, I'd love to see this battle, and I wish they could capitalize off of it like that, But yeah, as far as the whole, one and done in college with the transfer portal and everything now, weird. People talk about the transfer portal and then all this stuff is like how it's ruining college sports, and it hasn't ruined it yet for me because when I still watch, I'm still as invested as I used to be. So no matter what, when my team is on the field, you know what I mean? I don't have a feeling of like, but it is just, it's tough, man. It's really tough to see, You're muted still.
My dad says I think they should have to play at least 2 years. I think 2 years is fair. Like, I would personally like to see the NBA or institute a 3-year because, again, I do think while the young man you just mentioned from Alabama, Brandon Miller, he has come, like, you've seen him grow and get better as the years gone on. But if he stayed and continued to develop his game for 2-3 years, I use the Kobe White example because you're right. Kobe White is in his 4th year. He's going to be up there for most improved. How good could he have been had he stayed at Carolina for at least just another year? I'm not necessarily saying he needed another 2 years, but continue to raise his stock, build his profile. And listen, I'm never going to be against guys going and getting their money, right? Like this is a selfish thing for me, right? To some degree of wanting to see these guys get better, grow their profile so that when they step into the league, not everybody's going to be Zion. Not everybody's going to be Cooper Flagg, right? Not everybody's going to be, I want to pick on Harrison Barnes. When Harrison Barnes came out, he kind of had like this whole branding. This is before NIL, but he kind of had the nickname. I think he called himself the Falcon, the Black Falcon, I think. Right? He kind of had this nickname. He was seen as a one and done. And I think Harrison did leave after 1 year, but he could have used a second year for some seasoning and to work on his game. So selfishly, I want those guys to stick around because it presents the opportunity for them to get better and to step into the league as more of a household name. And you're more of a finished product where you're not necessarily drafting on potential. Because I'm going to be honest, like I looked at a mock draft yesterday. All due respect to Robert Dillingham or Reed Shepherd, Stephon Castle. These are talented young men as freshmen. They're not going to be difference makers for the team that selects them. And it's just like, I want to get product people I can plug and play day one. If I'm trying to win a championship, like if you're a team like the Rockets and you've got, Jabari Smith Jr., you got Jalen Green, right? You got Cam Whitmore. You got 3 or 4 or 5 guys already, all of the age of 23, 24, 25, or under 23, excuse me, who are growing and trying to get better. Why would I go and get another?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I look at a guy like Dalton Connect and go, you're plug and play?
Right, yeah.
Right? Like, we're looking to get better right now. We can plug you in. You're going to give us maybe 8 to 10 points a game, play between 15 to 22 minutes a game off the bench early on, and be a contributor towards a team that is they missed the play in this year, but I think they're a team that is ascending, especially given how terrible they were the year before. Ime Udoka is a good coach. And to me, you want to continue to add more mature pieces and not pieces that, we got to wait and see for 3 years. So I don't know, man. Like We don't have really have time for that, so I'm not going to get into it. We'll say I have a question about one and done, but we'll say that for next week or
I have
later
one
on
question
down the
before
road.
we go, just to kind of
Yes.
mix the two, since we've talked battle rap and we've talked women's college sports. Of these three women battle rappers, who would be the best women's college basketball player? Ready? All right. 40 bars.
Okay.
Vixen the Assassin.
Okay.
Or Averb. Yeah. If you put these three women, which one's leading their team to victory?
I'm going to go to J. Cole route. I'm going to do what J. Cole should have done.
Yeah.
And I'm going to respectfully decline to answer your question, sir. If you would like to answer the question, you are more than welcome to answer the question. I am going to bow out of that.
The answer is Vixen. The answer is Vixen. All right. I'm taking Vixen in the post all day. Let's get to these NFL draft picks.
There is something to be said about playing in the post and backside, but we're just going to move on. All right. We're going to move on. Oh, gosh. You're such a troublemaker.
Always.
You're such a And guess what? I would not be clipping this and sharing it. So if it gets clipped and it gets shared, it's because of you or someone else has seen this and decided to point it out. Not
gotta get some material for the spaces this weekend.
Oh my gosh. All right, man. Yeah, let's get into these picks. Let me see if I can share this screen. Let's jump into this draft. We got 12 more? I think we got 12 more picks to make here.
No.
So if you've been following us, we have been going through the NFL draft, giving our picks and our mock draft as we count down towards the NFL draft, which is 2 weeks away. We're working on some things for the draft. We'll see how that materializes.
I put another TV back here so we can, draft boards if we gotta, have nice visuals.
That's what's up. That's what's up. You can see this screen, right?
Yep, I can see it.
Fire. All right. So as you can see, we are on pick 21. The Miami Dolphins are on the clock. They had a big loss in the offseason. They lost They lost Christian Wilkins, who signed with the Raiders, I believe.
Yep.
They have a huge hole in the middle of their defense. And so, as their third, also at their third wide receiver, they had Braxton Berrios, which decent wide receiver. I know they show tight end. I mean, they went and got
if Brock Bowers is there, he's going to Miami.
No, he's already been drafted, right? Brock Bowers went to Tennessee. True.
If he's still there, that's the pick that Miami's taking.
So here's the thing. I feel like Miami is always in need of offensive linemen.
Always.
And so to me, you can see right now we have J.C. Latham from Bama. Although I did somebody posted like a kind of an overview of Alabama offensive linemen, and boy, let me tell you, it's not pretty.
Is it?
It's like it's not. I wish I'd saved the tweet, but like it's like 2 hits and like 10 misses. Like none of these guys have fared well at the next level. So you got Amarius Mims, you have J.C. Latham, but hold on, there's more.
Oh.
We got Jer'Zhan Newton out of Illinois. Jared Verse's an edge, but I think he has positional versatility. And here's the other thing about Miami. You got to remember, both of their edge rushers had suffered lower leg injuries at the end of last season. So Jalen Phillips and I'm forgetting about the young man they got from the trade in Denver. I'm blanking on his name. But both of those players, let me see if I can pull it up here. Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
So do you go offensive line or do you go Jared Verse here?
So to me, with the Miami, this is a pick that you need. Like I don't think Miami has the ability to miss on picks. Like they're still playing catch up in the AFC. You know what I mean? And to me, like Jared Verse is the all right. I don't think you're gonna miss on this pick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too familiar with the offensive lineman, but I do know Amarius Mims has a lot of high ceiling. I've seen some things on him. So I'm probably going to go with Amarius Mims or Jared Verse. I'm not familiar with Jerzon Newton either. So like I can't really speak on him, but he definitely feels a positional need for them. But to me, I think Miami's in a spot to where you can't be like a who, like, wait, you reached for that or you did whatever. Like, bro, you guys are you know, there was a window. It was a window for y'all. You know what I mean? And it's you better do something if you want to you know, be able to succeed in the AFC these days.
All right, so you thinking they need to go?
I'm going Jared. In my opinion, it's an offensive lineman or it's Jared Verse, but I'm just not very familiar with Jerzon Newton. So
I think man, given the fact that those this is really tough. Like I often make the joke that I could do this job, but I'm going to say we probably should go offensive tackle.
Okay. You want to go Latham or Mims?
Because
you just gave us a spiel about Alabama.
This is true. I mean, but you have to be careful. You can't fall into this trap of, you know, well, the last Alabama guy stunk. Because honestly, Jedrick Wills is one of the Alabama guys.
USC quarterbacks.
We're going J.C. Latham.
J.C. Latham.
All right. So next up, the Eagles. Right. So the Eagles had an interesting offseason. Let me pull up their depth chart real quick. They lost, obviously, their Hall of Fame center in Jason Kelce. Let me see what else they got going here.
What if the Titans still had A.J. Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, and Calvin Ridley?
Listen. To me, they got Bryce Huff from the Jets, but they traded away. Gosh, I can see Hassan Reddick. I think they sent him. Where did they send Hassan Reddick? Was it to the Jets?
Yeah, I think it was to the Jets.
He went to the Jets. So I think this is where Jared Verse, his slide stops here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's man, they just been drafting so much defense lately. But I mean, that's another thing. You remember last year they picked like 6 Georgia guys, or in the last 2 years they picked 6. You know,
now if they want to be consistent, they could go Amarius Mims and get another Georgia guy. If they want to be consistent,
this is very true. No, I like Jared Verse here. Brandon Graham retired, right? Like you said, they traded Hassan Reddick.
No, Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox retired.
Oh, Fletcher Cox retired.
Brandon Graham re-signed.
Yep, okay.
Yep. I mean, they could, and plus they already got Jalen Carter and
I think the Eagles will be thrilled if Jared Verse is here at 22.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
they could also go Nate Wiggins because corner was an issue for them last year, and James Bradbury is still there. So just to throw that out there before we. So what do you think, Verse or Wiggins?
Oh, Wiggins on a Verse sounds like a punchline. I think I should write it down actually. But then there's Mims underneath who has never been Wiggins on a Verse, and this is why I'm hot. So I think I'm going Jared Verse. Yep, I'm going Jared Verse.
All right, we'll go Jared Verse.
All first verse. All first verse.
All right, so the Vikings are back on the clock again. They had a pick earlier in the first round. This is the pick that they traded for about 2-3 weeks ago, with the idea that they potentially are going to package their pick that is 11 and 23 and try to get inside the top 10 to get their guy at quarterback. But we've already given them J.J. McCarthy in this mock.
Right.
So
this is the Wiggins. This is the Wiggins pick, in my opinion.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right. Let me real quick. I'm gonna look at their depth chart just to make sure.
Guard, center, D line. I mean, this Newton guy though, I keep sleeping on him. I don't know why he's just falling because I'm not familiar. Yeah, I would say it might be the Newton kid.
Man, so could I interest you in Laiatu Latu? I don't know if I'm saying that name right. At some point, I'm gonna have to learn how to say it right. But they lost Danielle Hunter. Now they went and signed Jonathan Grenard from the Texans in free agency.
Yeah.
But right now, Jerry Tillery is their other defensive end, and I could see.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. You're taking
All right,
edge
so we'll
over
go.
interior?
Yes, edge over interior, and he's really good. He's really, really good. And so finally,
this is
team
actually
that
going to be a
is-
forfeited pick because Cowboys are somehow going to not get their pick in time and continue to do what they've done through free agency. Absolutely nothing.
hey, this is
Is your
that's
pop still
wild,
listening?
right?
Is your pop still listening? 'Cause I'm pretty sure that he has thought more about adding players to the Cowboys team than the Cowboys actually have.
I'm looking. Yeah, well, Osa Odigizua. Okay,
We know
Chauncey
we're not taking a running back in the first round, so that's not happening.
True.
The wide receivers, they got CeeDee Lamb. They got I don't know if Gallup resigned.
Brandon Cooks.
Did Gallup resign?
Jalen Tolbert, Brandon Cooks, the wide receivers. Somebody named Racy McMahon. I think Racy went to LSU.
Is Gallup a free agent? He signed anywhere?
Yes, I think Gallup left. I think he signed with somebody. Hold on. Let me see. He was released by the Cowboys.
Okay. I really like Gallup. Maybe
So-
it's injuries and stuff.
Injuries really did him in. Hold on real quick. Let's look at wide receivers. What we got at wide receiver right now? So we got AD Mitchell. Xavier Worthy is all the way down here. I don't know, not sure why. But you got AD Mitchell. Keon Polk.
The kid from South
You want
Carolina.
to go wide receiver here?
I like the kid from South Carolina a lot, but I don't know where he's at. Xavier
Right
Legette. You heard the interview with him too? You hear the way he talked?
Country he is.
Country.
Like Xavier Legette sounds he sounds like a caricature. Like he's that he sounds like when actors get on TV and try to portray like people from the South. Like that's what he sounds like. It sounds like it's not real.
I heard that they were gonna do like a I don't know if it's an updated or like I don't know, but it's like a new King of the Hill. And I'm just like, yo, he needs to actually go. He could be Boomhauer, or he could be somebody like dead.
He could be Hank for all we.
Yeah. I'm not mad at
That's
taking AD Mitchell here. Yeah, and he's a Texas kid. That fits it honestly.
Yeah. All right. So last thing, because they did lose Tyron Smith. You got Amarius Mims. Yeah. See, this is. I admit, like this is tough. Going through this pick by pick is a little bit harder than I imagined. But
they take Mims here, they're going to have to probably trade up and get a wide receiver in early second round.
I mean, it's so the wide receiver class is so deep, though.
Yeah, it's true because they got two. They got Cooks and CeeDee Lamb, so they're not like.
Yeah, so they're not completely hurting, right? But I mean, so again, you're going to have Lamacon.
I think I'm changing my mind. I'm going with Mims.
I agree. I mean, Roman Wilson will be there. Ricky Pearsall is going to be there. Keon Coleman, Polk, McMillan. Like, look. Sorry, didn't mean to click on that. You're going to have so many options. I've heard good things
Walker
about Javon.
Is to very possibly be.
Yes. So we're in agreement. We're going to go.
Yeah, we're going Mims.
Amarius Mims. All right, so it auto drafted because I didn't select. Actually, the next time I do this, I'm going to select every pick in the first round, so it doesn't do that. So I can just save this and not have to redo it every week like I've been doing forever. Think smarter, not harder. A1. All right, so that is our mock draft. We just added the following 4 players: J.C. Latham to the Dolphins, Jared Verse to the Eagles, Latu to the Vikings, and Amarius Mims to the Cowboys. You can check out previous episodes of our mock drafts and see what we've chosen and what we've done. And let us know what you think, man. What are we getting right? What are we getting wrong? What do you think? What would you have done in these situations? And until next week, stay tuned. Last thing, we're gonna get in on this. I probably should have made the segue after you made the A-verb joke. However,
R.I.P. O.J. Simpson. Oh no.
R.I.P. who?
O.J. Simpson.
I mean, I wasn't trying to go there, but yes, RIP to OJ Simpson. He
Okay.
passed away yesterday, and my dad did jump in. He said Dallas needs to take a defensive, offensive tackle, and he also said Dallas doesn't have any money. How does one of the richest?
Picture? Who's the profile picture?
That's those are my nephews.
Come on, Pops.
Carson and Bryson.
You got to get Ethan in there. You got to be fair. All right. Come on, Pops. Get together. We're not doing this favoritism.
That's hilarious. But yes, OJ Simpson passed yesterday. And the internet obviously does what the internet does with lots of jokes, lots of people who are not related to not Nicole Kidman or Ron Goldman, who seem to be happy that he died. I'll never understand that. But yeah, man, like I'll say this. As a young man, as a kid, I think I was 11 when the car chase happened, when him drive with Al Collins driving down the.
I remember I was watching NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs. I don't even know. We didn't even have two TVs.
NBA Finals.
Yeah.
NBA Finals. Like they actually cut into the NBA Finals to show the car chase. They had, I think, the split screen.
Yep.
And then a year later, when I'm 12, the court case happens during that summer. I'm in Louisiana. I'm visiting for the summer. And I just remember my grandmother was hot because she was trying to watch her stories. And this is the OJ case is the impetus for the creation of Court TV because they cut into live programming. Court TV was created because of what happened with the OJ case.
I believe that was my grandmother because I remember it being. I think it was elementary school. You were 12. You're 2 years older than me. 2.5.
Yes, something like that. I'm 41. I'll be 42 this year.
I'll be 39 this year. So yeah, this is about almost 3. So yeah, but yeah, no, I just remember being at like the little area. It's not the principal's office, but wherever you go in and the secretary is sitting up there, whatever that office is. I remember hearing somebody say, OJ Simpson got acquitted, he was, I just remember that. I think it was elementary school though. I don't think it was middle school.
Yeah. I mean, that was just a crazy time. Like, again, if you get a chance, if you can go watch OJ Made in America, it's an ESPN documentary that basically details OJ's life all the way through. It shows how he got to where he was in terms of his thought process. And if you go watch the FX series that on the dramatization around the OJ case, listen, some of the best TV I have seen. Incredible acting, incredible scenes and moments. Very, very fire. So go check that out. But yes, OJ, RIP OJ.
Now, back to the segue.
Chrome 23, Miami Knights got announced. There are 5 battles on this card. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. First off, Shayrak versus Zan. I am familiar with Zan. I know she is part of the trenches. Easy to Block Captains League. I am more familiar with Shayrak, so my apologies, Zan. I'm going to give you a round. I'm going to go 2-1. I think Shayrak is a very, very good artist, and I think Zan is going to try to prove a point, right? This is going to be her debut on the channel, on the Chrome brand, so I'm pretty sure she's going to come in. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take Zan as the upset. I'm going to say Zan 2-1. I want to take a risk on a newcomer.
Yo, shout out to Zan. My mama's still watching, but Zan is a big fan of my mama, and I think my mama's a big fan of Zan. And so last time I saw her at the last Chrome event when Big K and Jazz battled, she made sure to pull me to the side and tell me how much she loved my mama. And she's a fan, and we just kind of had a good conversation. I also remember Zan because when I was preparing to battle K Prophet, I referenced the bar in the K Prophet battle. Her last battle was Panic Room, and she battled Zan on the Panic Room on Queen of the Ring. And anyways, but you know what? Some people do have the same name, and I could be, but I think it was the same Zan. I don't know if there's 2 Zans, but anyway, I say all that to say, yeah, I'm interested to see that battle. I'm not too familiar with Shayrak. I've seen her, but I don't, I'm not. I can't go back to a certain battle and say, she gets in a different bag. So I think it's going to be a debatable battle, and I'm going with Zan as well. Debut on Chrome. Trenches card is that same weekend. A lot of people going to be in there. Heavy trenches. I think it's going to give her some energy and give her that extra to take the win.
All right, that's what's up. If you are so inclined, you can check out Shayrak versus Tony Blanco, which dropped on the Chrome 23 channel, which if I remember correctly, was a really good battle between those two. So
Very
I'm going
underrated.
to
Rice Krispies.
refresh myself for that battle. All right. Next up, we got Shuni the Rapper versus E Hart. That's going to be a banger. I'm actually going to be excited to watch that one. I'm going to go E Hart 2-1. I think Shuni's going to be motivated, but I think E Hart, her rapping ability, I think it's going to be a little bit too much in this one. I hope that Shuni can get through clean. Obviously, there was a lot of debate during WOTY about Shuni and, her stumbles and chokes. Shuni, having met her for the first time at Chrome 23 last year, very personable, really nice young lady. And so I'm rooting for a dope battle, but I think I'm going to take E Hart 2-1 in this one.
I'm interested to know what kind of stage it is. If it's a big stage, I'm taking Shuni. If it's a pit style, I'm taking Hart. But I don't know what kind of stage it is, so that's interesting. But I'm gonna go to the other side of it. I'm gonna take Shuni in the battle. I think Hart is very, very good. She raps very well. I think Shuni's got a little bit more in her tool belt. So,
okay. All right. Next up, Prestavia versus Shayna Ashley. I'm happy for Shayna. Again, referencing WOTY, there was a lot of back and forth about Shayna, and I think a lot of what kept her from being higher is that she didn't have enough battles. So I'm hoping that this year she gets at least 4 to 5 opportunities to be outside against quality opponents on known leagues. And so Prestavia is making her return. I believe the last time she battled was on Chrome, right? That was that the card that you were on, right?
Yeah, she battled official. Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, this is a tough one. Prestavia's fire. Shayna Ashley also fire.
It's gonna be hard for me to pick against Shayna Ashley. I'm not gonna lie. After watching the first 2 rounds against Rosenberg, like she instantly became one of my top 3 favorite female battle rappers.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Shayna. Prestavia, because she's been sitting for a while, will there be ring rust? Right. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Shayna on that one. I think, again, while she had a third battle. I think shout out to Mike in the dungeon. He showed us it was on a league out in California against a gentleman whose name I don't remember. I watched the first round for both, but I'm going to go with Shayna. I think she's going to come to rap. I think she, based off what happened with WOTY, also think she's going to be there to prove a point. But I also expect this to be probably my battle of the night. Yeah,
me too. This is the main event to me. This is the one I'm most excited to see, and I mean that. But yeah, I love Prestavia. I think she's incredible. I thought she was really good against official. I thought she's just really good against a lot of people. So when she battled Yoshi, she was great. But yeah, man, it's hard for me to pick against Shayna Ashley after seeing her the most recently. And I do think this is another battle that is kind of like stage or pit. You know what I mean? Like I think that Prestavia kind of has a little bit of a rapping ability over Shayna Ashley, to where if this is a pit style with the energies everybody around or whatever, I can see her getting into pockets and kind of styling a little bit on Shayna. But yeah,
good point.
I kind of just feel like in stature and everything, Shayna can kind of like tower over Prestavia and kind of even go kind of bully mode on her while punching and doing things, that are really good. So I'm going to edge Shayna Ashley as well.
All right, cool. Next up, we got. Did I really close this out? I might have. Hold on one second.
Just be swamping it.
It's right? Jade versus Coffee Brown. I'm gonna go Coffee. Although Jade, this is gonna I'm not gonna say that. I think I'm gonna go with Coffee, but I think there's an opportunity for Jade to potentially catapult herself into conversations for even bigger names. Like Jade obviously has respected resume. She battled Twerk. If it wasn't last year, it was in 2022. But I think this has, with a good, solid performance here, this has the opportunity for her to see some bigger names. So I'm going to go Coffee, but I'm hoping that Jade is going to show up, be very entertaining, and like I said, show improve and earn some opportunities on some similar type stages and brands. Shout out to We Go Hard though.
I'm not sure if it's Coffee's debut on Chrome or not. But Coffee had an incredible year last year. She obviously finished, top 2 of WOTY for a reason. She went overseas. She took battles on the road. She performed against high competition. She's been in these big matchups like this plenty of times. She's battled Twerk. She's battled Geechee. She's battled, shout out to Coffee. Her resume speaks for itself. Jade is talented. I think she has the ability to win the battle. But just based off of kind of experience and just kind of the level in which I felt like Coffee was rapping last year, as long as it's stick to the same this year, I think Coffee takes the battle.
I'm looking here to see. I think this is her. Yes, because I'm looking at her verse tracker, which I believe is pretty up to date. Yeah, Anybody Can Die Battle League, The Riot, Beast Mode, Queen of the Ring, Premier Battles. So yeah, and she was on URL versus Twerk in her return last year. So yeah, so this will be Coffee's debut on Chrome. So yeah, I'm gonna go Coffee, and now the card that is at the top of the bill, or the battle that's at the top of the bill, excuse me. Averb versus Swamp. This has been a battle that has been long talked about, long discussed. I'll let you set it off, sir. How you call it?
Yeah, I just don't see. I mean, I've seen Averb battle. I thought against Shotgun Suge. Personally, I think that's still like his best as of late. A lot of people think he did really great against me. I felt like I won all 3 rounds. I felt like he had some moments, a few bars here and there. A lot of it was, crowd in the building, just wanting to see Averb rap. His material against Mickey Fax was good. I mean, it was solid. But if we're not gonna get, I didn't like his material against Ill Will. I didn't think it was very good. I thought it was, pretty standard, whatever. But if we're not going to get an Averb that was like, kind of that Shotgun Suge or better, I just don't think he has the ability to compete with somebody that's like Swamp. I think Swamp is just too good, and at battling, and I don't see Swamp losing at all. I see him winning clearly. You taking Verb? Are you taking Verb? Is this the last episode of the podcast? Is this our season finale?
To be fair, I did take Verb versus Will in the prediction. I had Verb 2-1.
We did those.
Watching that battle, he to me, Will won all 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to me, I know a lot of people mentioned Verb's first as his best round. I thought his third was his best round. And the problem is that I feel like Will had an angle in his third that was just better execution. Better bars, better round. Man, Verb has a way of.
Oh, I could finish
in the lead up to.
I can finish that sentence for you.
In the lead up to battles, of placing talking points that get stuck in your head, and if you are not like a super fan, so like obviously when he battled you, there are lots of talking points that he had where I'm just like, guys, just a simple like browsing of Ward's resume will show you, right? So he went with the white boy angle against you, that you lose the white boys. He went with the you have ghost writers, you have a writing team. He went with nobody knows you, you're not from Kansas City.
Right.
And he's taking some of the same angles, right? He's already went with the Swamp has writers. He's went with nobody knows you from your spot. And now he's going to an angle that I think has some merit, which is Swamp chokes. Now, granted, I don't keep up with Swamp's career enough to say like an LTBR stat and go, hey, in Swamp's last 5 battles, he's choked in 35% of them, right? I don't know that off the top of my head, but that particular talking point is staying with me a little bit. Swamp has wanted this battle for a minute. I'm going to take Swamp. I'm going to say Swamp 2-1 because I think, to me, Verb had the motivation. for you. I thought he would be more inspired versus Will, because I do think that was a legacy battle. I don't know where he gets the motivation to beat Swamp. He's not going to choke. He's going to get through his rounds clean. He's going to wrap his material. I just don't see where to me, this is a pay verb type battle for him. I'm getting paid well.
Yeah.
I just don't see where he finds the motivation to battle Swamp. Like, Swamp is just a name on his check. This means everything to Swamp. If Verb loses, I'm still Verb.
Yeah.
He's still going to say he won.
Look, he's gonna do the same thing with Chef Trez after he's done with Swamp. You know what I mean? And try to build up the Chef Trez battle, and do some other. He's just And you're like you said, it doesn't matter. He's literally gonna, he's gonna go in there and he's gonna tell everybody in his spaces that Swamp choked and Swamp didn't choke. And he's gonna have them he'll just completely lie, and then everybody will be like,
yeah. I mean, I think against Will, there are moments though. They're just not consistent. And I went after that battle and actually watched like a best of Verb, right, from different battles from his on different leagues. And I just hope he can tap into some of his bars versus Briz, Arsenal. Obviously, Hitman was a more personal battle at home in St. Louis. B Dot, right? Like, I want him to somehow tap into those old performances, because when he does, he's really good and he's really hard to beat.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I just like I said, the Swamp choking thing is sticking with me, but I just hope that Swamp, because this is a battle he's wanted for so long, he's chased for so long, that he's going to show up with 3 rounds and be clean. And if he does, I think he gets a 2-1.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe even 30.
Yeah.
All right. That's our show for tonight, man. We've been on for an hour and a half. So we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Tune in next week. We're going to come back with 4 more picks in our mock draft. I want to talk about one and done in college basketball.
Okay.
NBA playoffs will be, because I think there's only like 2 or 3 games left in the season for just about all the teams.
Yep. Sunday.
We're going to talk NBA,
Yep.
Playing games. Looking forward to the playoffs. Let me tell you, never mind. I'll say that when we actually get to the playoffs.
Yep.
But please remember, you can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Theme by going to the podcast app of your choice. Give us 5 stars, subscribe, share the podcast there. You can also check us out here on YouTube every Tuesday, Thursday, around 7 o'clock ish. Hit the notification bell, subscribe, hit the like button, share the broadcast, tell everybody. Oh dang, I forgot how to go. Tell a friend to tell a friend it's them boys again or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, until next time, it's been a Black
and White
Theme, and we'll holler at y'all next week, man. Y'all be easy.